Good morning, children. Today we will start It So Happened, The Selfish Giant, Part 2. I think you have written all these word meanings. So we'll go on to the next Part 2. To celebrate the return of the children, trees covered themselves with birds and blossoms. The giant was delighted to see this friend's back, his friend's back, especially a little boy whom he loved dearly. The little boy soon disappeared, only to return much later. Now, in this chapter, he saw a most wonderful sight. Through a little hole in the wall, the children had crept in. Now, the giant saw that through the little hole in the wall, the children had crept in, means came in, and they were sitting in the branches of the trees. In every tree that he could see, there was a little child, and the tree were so glad to have the children back again that they had covered themselves with blossom. Now the trees were so glad to have the children again, they covered themselves with blossoms or flowers, and were waving their arms gently. Now above the children's head. Now the branches were waving their arms above children's head. The birds were flying about and twittering with delight. Twittering with delight means they were making sound with their mouth, and delight with happiness. And the flowers were looking up through the green grass and laughing. The flowers were looking up through the green grass and laughing. It was a lovely scene. Only in one corner it was still winter. Now the garden was full of children, and flowers, and the trees were waving, and the grasses were laughing. Now it was a lovely scene. Only in one corner it was still winter. It was the farthest corner of the garden, and in it was standing a little boy. He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the tree. Now he was so small that he could not reach up the branches of the tree, and he was wandering all round it. He was crying and wandering all round it, crying bitterly. Now the poor tree was still covered with frost and snow, and the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. "Come up, little boy," said the tree, and it bent its branches down as low as it could, but the boy was too tiny. Now the tree came down, bent his branches down, but the boy was very tiny, so he could not climb up the tree. Now, and the giant's heart melted, and he looked out. "How selfish I have been," he said. "Now I know why the spring would not come here." Now he understood that he was being very selfish, so the spring was not coming in his garden. "I will put poor little boy on the top of the tree, and then I will knock down the wall." Now he is telling he would put the boy on the tree and knock down the wall. "And my garden shall be the children's playground for ever and ever." He was really very sorry for what he had done. Up till here only. I'll do in the next.